making sure that we mobilize them and we support them to be agents of social change. As I said earlier on, I have two concerns about HIV in young people. One, the number of new infections is so high. 40% of all our new infections occur in people between the ages of 10 to 24 years, particularly young females. And then secondly, this particular age group is the only age group where the number of deaths, the mortality rate, what we call mortality rate, continues to go up across the board. We contribute about 10% of all adolescent and young people living with HIV in the world. And I think it's all about the issue of awareness, the issue of having that knowledge and taking that big step to go and have a HIV test done. Science is moving, technology is moving. We now have self-test kits that are available that people can use to test themselves in the comfort of their homes. We have rapid test kits where you can have a result in any of our centers within minutes. We also have a call center in Naka, which is 6222, and if you call the call center, they'll be able to tell you, based on where you are, where the nearest test center is, where you can get counseling, and even if you tested positive, where you can go and get treatment. But it's really essential that we continue to engage our young people. We continue to find the most innovative ways of reaching out to them. HIV is still very much around, but it's no longer a death sentence. If you have HIV, the worst thing that can happen is you go on a lifetime of drugs. That's the worst thing that can happen. Provided you take your drugs, you should be able to live a fairly normal life. So knowing that diagnosis is important, not only to protect yourself, but also to protect your loved ones and to protect community in general. We've got to get on top of the HIV epidemic. We cannot do that if we leave our young people behind. We cannot do that.
Can we get those numbers again, please?
So, in terms of numbers, what I said is 40% of all
the telephone
HIV
numbers.
infections occurring
the call
in
center.
Nigeria.
The call centers.
Okay, the call center.
Yes.
So the call center is 6222. 6222. We are open from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you will be able to get all the information you need when it comes to HIV, including access, testing, treatment, even issues to do with your medications. We also provide advice on other health issues, not just HIV. 6222. So 6222.
Dr. Aliyu, stigma can be as a result of lack or incomplete information. So let's talk about how one can, acquire the virus and how one is not able to acquire the virus, just so we set it, again and again.
So let's set the scene here. How do you get HIV? HIV is a blood-borne virus. In other words, it exists in blood and secretions. And it exists in certain secretions in large numbers, particularly when engaged in sexual activities, so genital secretions, for instance, or blood. You cannot get HIV from saliva. You cannot get HIV from touching somebody. You cannot get HIV by living with a person or eating with him. No, you can only get HIV through intimate contact, which could be either sexual contact or from exchange of body fluids in whatever way. So, for instance, injection drug use, you can get HIV from blood transfusion, which fortunately is a lot less frequent now because all our blood products are being tested for HIV. And babies can also get HIV transmission from their mother to the baby. However, even though HIV is transmissible these ways, if you have HIV and you're put on treatment and the amount of virus in your bloodstream goes down to very low levels, what we call undetectable, you're not going to transmit the virus. You will not transmit the virus. It's been shown repeatedly. You will not transmit the virus to your sexual partner, and you will not transmit the virus to your unborn baby. So that's why getting more and more people tested is critical to getting them on treatment. And the more people on treatment, the fewer the transmissions. The fewer the transmissions, the faster we'll be able to get to achieving epidemic control. And epidemic control is where the number of new infections is much less than the number of deaths. And a lot of countries are now moving towards epidemic control. In Nigeria, we don't want to be left behind. We know that we have only a third of the estimated number of people living with HIV currently on treatment. But our goal is to get more and more people on treatment. And as you get more and more people on treatment, HIV will become less and less of an issue in terms of its public health importance.
You just mentioned some time ago now that about over 1 million people are on treatment, and we have over 3 million people that are in need of this treatment in Nigeria. Correct me if I'm wrong. The figures, you know, they are not so close. So how do we bridge that gap?
So the best way to bridge that gap is to really identify the barriers that that's preventing people from accessing HIV testing. As you showed earlier in one of your clips, we also have concern about the preciseness of those figures. We talk about 3 million Nigerians infected with the virus, but it's quite possible that this is a range which might be anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 million. And that's why we're trying to get a HIV survey done throughout the country. This is starting next week across the 6 geopolitical zones. It will take about 6 months, but the results of this survey will tell us with greater precision how close are we to knowing the number of people living with HIV in Nigeria. And this is crucial to planning, because without having the perfect numbers, it will be very difficult for us to negotiate with Federal Ministry of Finance or Budget to know how much we need in terms of resources. The good news, though, is that the cost of delivering HIV services is coming down. The drugs are getting cheaper. It's costing us only about 50,000 naira to keep a person on treatment, one person on treatment for a year, which is less than $150 in a year, something that used to cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's why we're very keen to get more and more people on treatment. Yes, it's a gap. It's a significant gap if you look at we're only a third of the way. But it's possible as we get more and more people on treatment. My hope is that by the end of this year, we will be approaching like 1.5 million people on treatment, especially if we can get the state governors to commit.
Thank you so much, the Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Dr. Sani Aliyu, and of course the National Coordinator, Association of Positive Youths Living with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria, Isa Mohammed. Thank you both for coming on Sunrise this morning.
Thank you too.
So we'll take a quick break and we will be back with the home stretch. Stay with us.